Welcome again to another episode of Nova Employment's 2014 Focus on Ability short film competition. We've been inspired by some of the films, and this week's show particularly focuses on the documentaries, and we would like to thank not just the filmmakers but particularly the subjects of their films. These have been truly inspirational. First up, Stephen Saville's Braden and the Tacoma.
My name's Braden Stockham. I do have some challenges in my life like every other person. One of them for me is autism. It's very hard to cope with, but I've learned how to cope with it over the years. I live near Port Incan with my mum, my dad, my little brother Harry, and near every pet imaginable. I've been interested in boats since I've been a yacht tacker. When I got re-interested, I purchased a book called Wooden Fishing Boats by Gifford Chapman, and I had the pleasure of meeting Gifford Chapman, and that was one of the best days of my life. Because of my interest in boats and fishing vessels, I've been involved with the Tacoma Preservation Society, or the Tacoma Project.
As part of Braden's school program, he began working with the Tacoma Preservation Society, and the work that he's doing there is not just helping him with his schoolwork and his completion of his SACE, but it also helps him with his self-esteem and his communication skills and his social skills, and it is an absolute fantastic lifeline for him. Braden was almost 5 years old when he was finally diagnosed with autism. Previous to that, he had a diagnosis of specific language impairment. Some of the challenges that Braden had was his lack of speech. He could not communicate very well verbally, so a consequence of that was behaviour. We had a lot of aggressive behaviour because poor little fella couldn't get his point across with his words.
The surfboat's still going. She's 70 years old. The Amaryllis was acquired by the government for the war effort. After that, she was sold off in an auction. We've never heard from her again. The Dolphin works at a beach port, Southhead, and she's quite possibly the oldest cray boat working in South Australia or Australian waters.
Braden Stockham, he's actually a special boy. He fits into the crew absolutely perfectly. He enjoys the history of boats, he enjoys the history of fishing, and he's learning a lot on Tacoma. He's doing all his maritime skills with us. He certainly is a very keen member of our crew.
The other part to it would be attacking the oxygen side of the fire truck. Here's an example where we attack the oxygen side of the fire truck.
Excuse me, what does the A, B, and C mean?
Oh, sorry, airway, breathing, and circulation. And that goes for any medical emergency. To put education into a workplace situation, as with Braden and the Tacoma, people can apply that directly. It's much easier to grasp for the student, and it makes learning fun and applicable.
See the other technology, autopilot.
Oh, look at that.
So this here, so basically you just stand up outside there and strip with this.
Wow. Oh, it's not the same.
That was a pretty,
It's too easy.
yeah, it's pretty easy.
Do any wheel spinning.
And this is the rudder indicator, so it tells you what the rudder was.
Oh,
they couldn't
okay.
tell that from outside, so they came up with this idea.
A mirror?
There's kangaroo iron there.
Yeah, yeah.
So they fish around here. Thanks for watching this video, and I hope to see you on to Tacoma one day.
The open entrant documentary category was the most hotly contested, with 58 people putting forward some inspiring films. Charged with the daunting task of sorting out a winner was John Orchik, well-known actor, director, good bloke and major sponsor of the Film Awards. John talks about the task he had.
I think the value in these awards is tremendous. The emails back and forth between us, there were a couple of words bandied about a lot, and one of them was humbling. And it is humbling that we take what we do for granted because we do it relatively easily. We may say it's difficult, but in fact, it's relatively simple and easy compared to the things that we have seen people overcome. And there is no other word for it. It's humbling. I see a fantastic and a tremendous, I think, a social consequence in doing all this, and that is that people will be aware of other people, not just people with disabilities, but I think we become maybe just a little bit more aware of each other.
Next up we have Stephen Dow's Alice in Oz.
My name is Alice. I was born in a small town in south of Vietnam. I had polio when I was 1 year old because at that time my country was really poor, so we didn't have enough vaccine for the children. When I first came to Australia, everything seemed very new to me. I had to be stronger and try harder because I had very limit in English, so I couldn't communicate with other people. I learned to adapt very quickly. I still remember the first time when I went to school on my own. I was really scared, but I love it because I feel myself very independent. Living with disability on a daily basis is really not much different than other people. We just need some extra help at times. Actually, I can do everything myself, like make my bed, prepare meals, and cleaning. For my work, what I'm doing is distributing magazines in the letterboxes. It's a very fun job despite the rain and being chased by dogs. I have made many good friends around. I love socializing, so I like to make friends with other people, and I have so many friends at school where I graduated with my diploma in accounting. I love working because it makes me feel comfortable and confident in myself. I can demonstrate that even though I have disability, but I have ability to work. People's ability is unlimited. Achieving something, no matter how small is it, so better than never trying. Oh yeah, actually I come to visit you sometime, but because I see the door locked, so I don't want to bother. I just come and then go out.
And you win.
Yeah.
With the door locked, kick it in.
Yes, next time I do.
Marvellous little girl, and she's a lovely girl.
Yeah, she is too.
And when she had the
And we like her.
when she had the flat tire on her wheelchair, she knew where to come because she had friends.
Yeah.
So she knew where to come and get a wheelchair fixed.
Now they all know her friends are making this up.
Her friends are making this up for her. No, they're not. No. If everybody took a leaf out of Alice's book and did some work, it would be a better place.
Yes. It's not such a bad place though.
It's not a bad place, but there are more people that should take notice of what Alice is doing.
Yes.
Isn't it?
Yes, they should.
Her character From what I know, she has got a very good character. She's a very loving person. Very easy to make friends with. I only know Alice from meeting her at our letterbox, and ever since then she's been a really, really lovely friend.
3 cheers. Hip hip, hooray.
I tell so many people about her. I think she's marvellous.
Yeah.
To other people with disability, I would say keep smiling and never lose hope.
I would also like to take this opportunity to thank our major sponsor for the Open Entrant documentary series. That was Clubs New South Wales, the peak body for registered clubs in New South Wales. A not-for-profit industry which employs more than 41,400 staff, includes more than 44,000 volunteers, and is home to more than 5.7 million members. We thank them for their sponsorship. Up next is James Stewart's Anusha's story.
My name's Anusha Flook. I'm from Sydney. I love sailing and being on the water. I got into sailing really through my grandmother because the sailing club, which my grandmother's a member of, had a youth sailing program. And she basically just signed me up and then I started going. I actually hated it for the first couple of years because I was such a battler at it, but I just kept going. Part-time, I do photography jobs every now and then. And yeah, I love photojournalism and street photography, and I also love sailing photography as well. For a couple of the world championships we've had at my club, I've just volunteered to be the photographer, go out and take photos. I really just love being on the water. There's so many elements to sailing, you have I like racing because you have the competition and there's the tactics and the strategy and the boats. And then you have the team element as well. Sailing's taken me to a couple of countries, which has been really exciting. We sailed around the islands in Denmark and raced in the Netherlands. I love sailing a lot of different types of boats. I've sailed on lasers and Elite 6s, which do match racing, and I've also sailed on yachts. I don't really have a favourite, they're all so different. But right now I'll be going on an Yngling, which is a 3-person boat originating from Norway. The biggest challenge I face when I'm sailing is trying to figure out how to do things my way, which often can take a lot of time and effort and practice. And that's probably why it took me a really long time to get into sailing and start enjoying it, because it took me a while to work out certain ways I would tack the boat myself or drive the boat without losing control. So on the Young Endeavour, the main mast is about 33 metres high. And they have 3 checkpoints till you get to the top. And to climb up to the very top of the mast, you have to climb up the ladder, which isn't actually vertically straight, it goes out at an angle. And to get into the bird's nest, you basically have to climb completely upside down and then kind of swing yourself inside. Obviously you're wearing a harness the whole time, so if you fall, you're safe. But still, mentally, you're climbing and you don't feel like you're tied on, and it's really draining, especially when you're climbing with one arm and you're holding on for dear life and the boat's rocking to and fro. But I guess when I went on the Young Endeavour, we had some scary times. In the middle of the night we had 40 knot winds and everyone had to get up and tack and jibe the boat, which took 11 people just on the jib. And that was pretty exhausting, and we were flung from one side of the boat to the other, and we all had our harnesses on tied onto the side of the boat in case anything happened. I just really want to get into a lot of big boat racing now. Maybe some more offshore racing, which would be great, some sailing to Coffs and stuff. Maybe potentially Sydney to Hobart, depending on what boat I could get on, but I don't know. My mother would probably kill me. But yeah, something a bit more adventurous. In other people's eyes, I think people tend to sometimes respect me because I can keep up at their level and that sort of stuff. And it also makes people realise that having a disability really isn't anything because I can do the same thing as everyone else can do. So from my disability, I've definitely grown a lot of ability because I definitely feel like I tend to push myself harder and work at things a lot more than the average person would. To inspire someone to go out and be adventurous, I definitely know the feeling of being nervous and not wanting to do something and like wanting to back out in the last minute, but sometimes you just have to go and do it, and most of the times everything works out fine and you're really happy and you feel like you've achieved a lot in life. So just go for it.
And now here is Andrew by Nat Jackson.
My name is Andrew Edmondson. I'm 23 years old. I grew up and live here in Sydney pretty much all my life. 9.5 years ago, I went down to Coogee Beach after a long week of school. Went to drive in just as I would any other day, and just the next minute I just remember not being able to move anything. Everything was pitch black. I actually hit a sandbar underneath the water. When I arrived at hospital, I remember lying there in bed and the doctors came back in after I'd had a few scans, and they basically just said to my parents that your son's broken his neck and he will most likely be in a wheelchair for the rest of his life. For me, initially, all I thought was, everything that I had was taken away. Part of my rehab was within the adult hospital, so I went over there a couple of days a week to do rehab and was introduced to one of the physios there who showed me a video of wheelchair rugby. I just knew as soon as I saw it, it was something I wanted to do and try, and I think it was a couple of weeks later he actually took me out to like a come and try day. I just knew it was perfect for me. I was quite aggressive and full on before I had my injury, and I don't think anything's changed. You put me in that sporting environment and that's just the way I am. All the guys that I play wheelchair rugby with are great. They've taught me so much in my time and really accepted me into the team and given me advice, and both on the field and off the field. I'm really fortunate now. I've played for New South Wales and captained New South Wales, and yeah, definitely my next goal is to play for Australia at Paralympic Games. Wheelchair rugby's given me a lot. Just the fitness aspect, getting back into that. Mentally, getting prepared for games and thinking about strategies and how you can better yourself. To all people with spinal injuries, I just encourage them to get out there. Sport is a major part of a lot of people's lives, and a lot of people think just because they've had a spinal injury that that's the end of it and they can't do anything. But nowadays there's so much out there for people in wheelchairs. Having a spinal injury is definitely not the end of the world. If anything, it's the start of something bigger for yourself.
Now we have Luke Walhooter's Chad's Challenge.
Hi, my name's Chad Graham. I'm 23 years old and I'm a C6 quadriplegic. As a kid, I really enjoyed motocross and I started racing when I was 10 years old. At the age of 12, I was in a motocross accident and broke my neck in 3 places. I spent 6 weeks in a neck brace and the remainder of the year getting my neck back to strength. I contemplated whether or not to get back into the sport and ride again. After discussions with the family, we decided that I'd start riding again, but had to be 100% committed. 3 years passed. Things were going good. I was third in the state at the time, and the future was looking bright. Went back to a friend's place and decided to start riding with all of my friends that were out. Late in the afternoon, we were about to pack up, and I decided that I'd have a few more laps. Came around one of the corners and ended up high-siding out of the corner and dislocated my neck. I spent 2 weeks on life support in Westmead Hospital. I was then transferred to Ride Rehabilitation Centre and started undergoing rehabilitation to learn to live the life of a person in a wheelchair. I'm currently training to drive my buggy across Australia to raise money and awareness for people who have had sporting injuries like myself. Even though you're in a wheelchair, there's still always ways to be able to do things. You just either need to look past what's there to find a way round or anything like that, or just, it might take days, it might take weeks, it might take months, it might take years, but once you figure out a way, you get past it. Always being busy is the main thing, is what helps the most. Like, it always, at the end of the day, it always clears your head because you're doing something else instead of sitting there waiting. A couple of years after I hurt myself, I ended up getting a job through Nova Employment at Western Motorcycles to help me be able to live a bit of a normal life instead of sitting at home doing nothing. And they've been really good to me ever since I started there. I've been there 3 years now. It's really good. I'm getting along with everyone really well, and I'm loving it right now. It's real good. I guess I thought of just try and surround myself with people that are positive minded and being able to have fun, because the more fun that you have makes you forget about everything. The more you do that, the more you're going to be happy, and the more you surround yourself with good people is going to make you even better than what you thought you could have been, I guess.
Thank you for joining us for the documentary episode of the Focus on Ability short film competition. It's been a privilege to share with you so many triumphs of ability. If you'd like to know more, or even get involved in the 2015 competition, check us out at focusonability.com.au.